have 6 officers being charged. Do you expect the prosecutors to try to make deals with 1 or 2 of them so that they can give the information? Because we don't know what happened right now.
And that's what's going to happen. Instead of Vegas running a line on Mayweather, they need to run a line on who's going to roll first. Because in this case, that's why all of them were charged. Because you can't get someone to talk unless there's a reason for them to talk. And I don't think for 1 second that all 6 of these officers will be found guilty or plead guilty to these charges. But in order to get what you need, you have to have everyone with the same type of issue and try to get them to roll over on the others. And that's going to happen.
So, Keisha, a lot of people are saying that this case was overcharged. The one officer who was driving the van charged with murder, is that going to be tough to prove?
Absolutely. In cases like this, it's very common that the prosecutor will overcharge so that it increases the chances for some conviction of one of the offenses. I think the charge of murder, second-degree murder, depraved heart, is going to be extremely difficult to prove because there's no evidence or proof that this officer acted in a way that he had a total disregard for human life. I mean, he drove the van, Mr. Gray did ask for a medic, but I don't think this officer woke up that day and said, you know what, I want to kill this man, or I have the intent, or I'm going to just not care if he dies, and I know my actions are going to result in a death. So I think that charge is going to be extremely hard to prove.
But, you know, Eric, when we look at that timeline, it is troubling. Was medical attention delayed too long?
Yes, and that is what's going to get them on the manslaughter charges and the assault charges. When the person asks for medical help and you don't give it to them and it's delayed, you have different stops in between getting the medical help, it makes the police officers look shady, look like they're trying to cover something up, because there's one stop that the police officers did not even tell their investigators that they did. So that goes to their credibility and lack of credibility, whereas if they didn't be honest with them about where they went and what they did, then they may not be telling the truth about anything.
But you know, I think that what the defense attorneys are going to argue in that situation is that a lot of times detainees will say, oh, I can't breathe, or I need medical attention, and they do that to avoid having to go to the precinct. So there was I think some testimony or evidence where the officer thought that he was acting out and that he was just being defiant. So they're going to have to prove that the officers truly believe that there was a medical need. Now, I'm not saying that there wasn't, because that is gross negligence, but the fact that this is a common thing and the officers may have thought that he was, you know, being defiant based on what happened before he was placed in the van, that's a very crucial issue.
Yeah, and Keisha's totally right on that. And Alicia White is the one that opened the van, checked him, and called his name, and he wasn't responding. So they have a lot of those issues, especially after they knew for sure he wasn't responding. They're in big trouble for that one.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there.